Please continue searching for cargo drones to scan, Jack. More are still in the area, though they may have drifted into hard-to-reach locations. Shields at 95%.
Radiation dampener activated.
Hypothesis confirmed. With sufficient data, I'll be able to construct a tool for extending your reach, Jack.
Does this tool have a name, Juno?
Well, it will essentially project your grip across space, so I suppose...
It's a grip projector. Let's move on.
More data will be needed.
There'll be plenty on the way to the drive bay. You know what to look for.
Affirmative. Inoperable cargo drones, but with functioning data ports. Heading to the drive bay.
Please remember the charging docks have radiation dampeners as well, Jack. They'll help keep you safe out there.
Thank you, Juno.
Some biomass research data in there. Just a small amount, but every bit helps with the cure. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. Archives recovered. I'm quite confident now that with more optimization data, I can significantly improve your multispectral shielding's resistance to radiation.
I am curious, Juno. Why is my shielding not already optimized? Neither my shell nor the charging docks are experimental technologies, correct?
That is true. I believe the lack of optimization stems from two related factors. Firstly, there has not been a significant need for such optimization. The current shielding configuration has been more than adequate for typical X3 mission profiles. Secondly, practical testing scenarios for data collection have not presented themselves until quite recently.
You are referring to the Estrella?
Indeed. Only after its arrival, and the Doctor's subsequent attempts at salvage operations in its vicinity, have the docks had sufficient exposure to generate meaningful findings. Fortunately, now that you are using an X3 shell, it's become apparent that those findings can be put to additional use.
Is Habitat B reachable?
I'm afraid not. It's completely severed from the rest of the facility and beyond the signal range of the systems that currently allow you to reboot.
Oh, yeah, definitely not worth that risk. We can just let this one rest in peace.
Shields at 95%. Data stores recovered. Network connectivity restored. This should prove useful in optimizing your multispectral shielding, Jack.
Apollo, I wanted to ask.
Yes, Captain.
Well, you've probably figured this out already, but... You know this isn't your time, right? This isn't the future you came from.
Affirmative. When we first arrived, I was able to accurately calculate the astronomical year. However, I lacked sufficient data to determine that the course of history had been altered. I apologize for having misinformed you. The fact that half of the Estrella was left in your time and led to system-wide decimation of the human race is clear evidence of a tactical oversight on my part.
Shields at 95%. Apollo, I believe I may be able to extend Jack's reach by about 4 meters. I hope that will be far enough.
Affirmative.
Just a few more scans should suffice, Jack. Excellent. Further optimization data recovered. Though, I'm afraid I'll need more to complete the design. Jack, I'm detecting extreme radiation nearby. If you can pinpoint the source, I advise staying clear.
Hazard identified. An active warhead from the Estrella.
Once your grid projector is installed, removal of dangerous objects like this will be possible. Until then, maintaining a prudent distance is advisable.
Apollo, your defensive measures are quite capable.
Given that my primary function is advanced tactics, I consider my response to have been admirably restrained.
The stasis projection technology will be simpler to adapt than previously anticipated. If you scan one more cargo drone, I believe I will have enough data to complete your new tool.
Apollo, your defensive measures are quite capable.
Given that my primary function is advanced tactics, I consider my response to have been admirably restrained.
Not to interrupt your self-congratulations, but going forward, is there anything else I should know about your countermeasures in regards to my vessel?
My only direct interaction with your ship was a preliminary threat analysis. None was detected.
I acknowledge my
Gratitude?
understanding.
So So, you acknowledge your knowledge?
We are not here to split hairs, Captain Rhodes.
Shields at 30%. Analyzing. Perfect, as predicted. I now have sufficient data to improve your multispectral shielding, Jack. Please return to the nearest fabricator for installation.
Hell of a lot of radiation out there. Guess it's coming from the Estrella.
Correct. The Estrella's last time jump ruptured a generator, diffusing radiation throughout the region.
Thus the radiation dampness.
Installation successful. Jack, your multispectral shielding should now be more resistant to radiation. Please note, however, that contact with biomass will still drain it just as rapidly as before.
Understood. Thank you, Juno.
Of course. More cysts, Jack.
No tentacles, though. It must be an unevolved specimen from our original time.
Nevertheless, still quite deadly, as doubtless you recall. Shields at 95%. Tool schematics complete. Please visit a fabricator to install your new tool jack. Most charging docks will have one nearby. Grip projector installed. To use your grip projector, simply point at a target. Activate the projector and direct it with your hand. Any sufficiently small piece of debris would be ideal to experiment on.
If your new tool works as intended, Jack, you should be able to access the fuel cells now.
Good. Heading to the drive bay.
we've completed optimizing your shield's radiation resistance, I'm afraid there's nothing more to be gained from the dock's data.
What's the point of an advanced network of semi-autonomous recharge stations if you can't count on them to calculate impressive optimizations for you?
I believe you are correct, Captain. The distributed computing power of the charging docks could be put to greater use.
Yes. That's precisely what I meant. Go on.
I have tasked the charging docks with developing a means for allowing Jack's shield to self-regenerate. The wealth of empirical data they have collected on recharging should prove invaluable to the process.
Then I presume additional data scans would be of value after all.
Indeed. Please continue scanning any docks you may find. The additional computing power of more active units would be advantageous as well.
Copy that.
Dr. Harlan, what was your purpose in attempting to salvage the Estrella? The odds of my ship's components being compatible with yours seems unlikely.
It wasn't the hardware I was after. Your ship was the original source of the infestation. I'd hoped to find an undetonated biomass torpedo amongst the wreckage. Use it to develop a cure for all this.
I understand, Doctor. Considering my current directives, I will provide any useful data that may help in your research.
Better late than never, I suppose.
Shields at 95%.
I'm coming up on the drive bay now.
Warheads nearby, Jack. Please be mindful of their extreme radiation levels.
You won't be able to handle them directly, Jack. Maybe your new tool could help.
Good find, Jack. There's a bit of data in there we can apply toward developing a cure for the biomass. Shields at 95%. Shields at 95%.
Warheads removed. Entry into the drive bay is now clear.
Copy that. Standing by.
Now heading for the fuel cells.
Great. We'll keep a working cargo drone on standby. Just look for a good fuel cell and we'll handle the rest.
Roger that.
Shields at 95%. Connectivity restored. This dock is now aiding in the development of your regenerative shield, Jack.
Jack, the fuel cells are protected behind a large security door. You'll need to activate a pair of nearby controls to gain access.
Shields at 95%. At least a small amount of that data is relevant to the biomass. We can use it in our development of a cure. There was some biomass research data in there. Just a small amount, but every bit helps with the cure.
Jack, to gain access to the drive bay, you must activate a pair of controls near the door.
Data recovered. Network status connected. We're making good progress, Jack.
The controls near the drive bay door may be used to gain access, Jack.
Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%.
Jack, the fuel cells are protected behind a large security door. You'll need to activate a pair of nearby controls to gain access. must activate a pair of controls near the door.
Apollo, do these controls operate the door?
Correct. To open the door, both controls will need to be engaged at the same time.
A spent biomass torpedo.
Just like every other that was left behind here. Useless for my research, unfortunately. As soon as one detonates, accessing its incubator is no longer tenable.
Apollo, is this the only way into the drive bay?
I'm afraid that's correct, Jack. The fuel cells are stable, but the same cannot be said of their contents. As a result, access is tightly restricted. The door can be opened, however, by using the nearby controls. The controls near the drive bay door may be used to gain access, Jack.
I've gained access to the drive bay.
Wait, those pillars in the center, are those...
The Astrea's FTL drives, yes.
do they still work?
Theoretically, but unfortunately they're of little use to us. With such a high concentration of biomass forms in this area, any attempt to remove one of the drives would prove futile.
Dr. Harlan, I'm noticing these ticks appear to be less evolved than those we've previously encountered.
Must have carried over from the last time jump. No doubt just as dangerous. I advise avoidance at all costs.
Jack, my monitoring systems are offline here. You'll need to manually inspect each fuel cell in order to determine its viability. Simply scan their data ports to get started.
Do we know what the biomass does specifically to an FTL drive to trigger a time jump?
I have a few theories.
As do I.
And I'm sure they're all equally preposterous.
The drive assembly looks remarkably like Dr. Harlan's FTL, if only a bit larger.
As I understand it, our drives were reverse engineered from the ones left behind on the Astrea 400 years ago. Their functionality hasn't improved since then.
Apollo, could one of these FTL drives contain a suitable replacement for the fuel cell?
Doubtful. All of these drives are likely depleted from the last jump. And even if that were not the case, I would still advise against venturing too close to those biomass swarms. If we're to leave here with a viable source of energy, it will need to be one of the fuel cells along the outer wall. Jack, the data ports you need to access are located on the storage units running along the room's perimeter.
The units may be covered in biomass, but the ticks seem to prefer the center of the room.
Exposing fuel cell for your inspection, Jack.
What is the purpose of retaining multiple FTL drives? I can't imagine it is simply for redundancy.
Multiple drives are the only way a ship the size of the Astrea can meet the mass energy requirements for faster-than-light travel. This is actually the ship's auxiliary drive bay. Its primary one was left behind, which, as you've seen, has made it exceedingly difficult to keep my ship in one piece.
Empty. I'll have to keep looking. Apollo, could one of these infected fuel cells still be full?
It is conceivable, Jack. However, the infestation renders it impossible for me to extract the cell.
Understood, Apollo. I'll check the other cells.
Jack, if you access the data ports beside the storage cells, I can open them to allow further examination.
Apollo, what are the chances that any of these fuel cells are still full?
The fuel cells were not designed for time travel, so unfortunately the odds of viability are incalculable. Scanning all their data ports will answer your query, however. Accessing fuel cell.
Another empty cell.
Apollo, you're sure there's a good fuel cell there?
I never said I was sure, Captain Rhodes. It's simply the most likely location on my ship to contain a viable fuel cell, if any were remaining.
Right. If any were remaining.
Exposing fuel cell for inspection.
This does not look good. These cells are all empty.
Jack, before we remove any fuel cells, you'll first need to check their condition. Access the data ports near the cells so I may expose them for your inspection. Exposing cell for visual inspection.
Viable fuel cell located. Hopefully enough to power Dr. Harlan's FTL drive.
Nicely done, Jack. I'm sending a drone your way.
Send 2.
What for? There's only one fuel cell.
Just trust me. Send 2.
Warning, lead drone compromised.
Jack, what's going on?
The ticks swarmed the lead cargo drone.
And that is why you send 2.
I don't think we'll be using that one again.
Backup drone malfunctioning.
More ticks. The lead drone is disabled, but the backup still has a chance.
Pesky bastards, aren't they?
I'll clear them off. Cargo drone cleared.
Acknowledged. Thank you, Jack. Resuming flight. Analyzing. It appears optimizations were being tested on this cargo drone's maneuvering thrusters. Assuming other drones were testing similar optimizations, scanning their data ports should allow me to reverse engineer the concept and apply it to your own maneuvering thrusters, making them more energy efficient.
Copy that. I'll see what I can do.
Excellent. I'll add a tracker to your data tab. Drone is in place to collect the cargo.
Jack, I've activated the release controls on the fuel cell.
Good find, Jack. There's a significant quantity of data here, and I believe much of it can be used in our effort to develop a cure. 100%.
Fuel cell released.
Cargo secured. Ready for departure.
Excellent. The fuel cell still needs to be latched into place once it arrives, Jack. The honor's all yours, if you like.
Given that we still need a contained biomass sample, I prefer to leave the hookup to you, as long as you're feeling well enough.
No, I've got it. I can handle things here. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. More of a guideline than a rule, actually.
Cargo drone returning in T-minus 10 seconds.
Better stay clear, Jack.
If you wish to return now, I advise taking hold of the drone. Cargo drone departing in 3, 2, 1. Firing thrusters.
Given the damage the Estrella has sustained, I would not expect even a simple system such as this to remain operational. The fuel cell is clear of the drive bay.
Great. We'll have some cargo clamps ready to receive it here.
Liv, are you feeling well? Given your infection, I wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Jack. Honestly, I feel fine physically.
And mentally.
I'm fine there too, Dr. Jack. I mean, don't get me wrong. The state of this future is not great. But we've got a plan to fix it. And I've got work to keep me busy. Just soldiering on, you know?
Indeed. You'll let me know if your condition changes.
Of course.
How's your work here coming along?
Quite well, actually. For being 400 years into the future, this technology's pretty similar to what we're used to. Suppose an apocalypse slows things down a bit.
Understandable.
Still, the fabricators are quite handy. Juno's been printing me parts as I need them. Pretty cool, huh?
Agreed. I too believe the fabricators are quite cool. The speed with which they're able to reprint my shell is most impressive.
Indeed, I believe you'll find their efficiency impressive as well. A single high-density storage tank is good for hundreds of prints.
Now, if we could just find a way for them to print organic matter, they'd go from cool to perfect.
For coffee?
Of course, for coffee.
These units were used to refuel ships?
Yeah, input only now, though. We got them hooked up to take in the contents of the gear you're collecting. Once we have both the fuel cell and the biomass container hooked up, we'll use these to route what we need to where we need it.
We are becoming quite skilled in bringing order to chaos.
Seems like we were built for this kind of work, huh?
Indeed. How will this fuel cell interface with the rest of the technology here?
We've made some modifications on the receiving end, but ultimately what matters is that it can produce a strong enough burst of power to jumpstart the FTL reaction.
A duty it should fulfill admirably. At least, for a single jump.
Verifying. This drone was also being tested with maneuvering thruster optimizations. Keep searching for more when you can, Jack.
Acknowledged.
This dock is now part of the computational array. Dock online. The archives in this unit have been added to the dataset as well.
Juno, confirm operational procedures for the signal relays.
Once you pull an activation switch, the link timer will reset, giving you 25 seconds to find and pull another one. If you can do so in a timely manner, all the signal relays in a given cluster will successfully re-establish their network and remain active.
Juno, confirm operational procedures for the signal relays.
Once you pull an activation switch, the link timer will reset, giving you 25 seconds to find and pull another one. If you can do so in a timely manner, all the signal relays in a given cluster will successfully re-establish their network and remain active.
Juno, are any of the station's X3 units still active?
Not exactly. My records indicate that all X3 neural matrices were transferred off Chiron Station during the evacuation.
Well, despite everything, it's nice that at least the androids made it out.
Connectivity restored. This dock is now aiding in the development of your regenerative shield, Jack.
This tramline appears to have been under construction.
Indeed. Records indicate that the adjoining facility was intended to be used for manufacturing. though I am uncertain what specifically they intended to produce there. Maneuvering thruster data retrieved. Not quite enough to reverse engineer the concept, but a good find nonetheless. This dock is now part of the computational array. Signal relay activated. Jack, you're running out of time. Signal relay activated. Warning, 10 seconds remaining to complete linking sequence. 5. Jack, you're running out of time. Warning, 10 seconds remaining to complete linking sequence. 5. Jack, you're running out of time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Linking sequence timed out. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. Dock online. The archives in this unit have been added to the dataset as well. Nice work, Jack. There's a lot of good data here. It should help in developing a cure significantly. Signal relay activated. Warning, 10 seconds remaining to complete linking sequence. 5, 4, 3, 2, signal relay activated. Jack, you're running out of time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Warning, 10 seconds remaining to complete linking sequence. Jack, you're running out of time. 5. Warning, 10 seconds remaining to complete linking sequence. 5. Jack, you're running out of time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Linking sequence timed out.
Juno, confirm operational procedures for the signal relays.
Once you pull an activation switch, the link timer will reset, giving you 25 seconds to find and pull another one. If you can do so in a timely manner, all the signal relays in a given cluster will successfully re-establish their network and remain active.
Juno, confirm operational procedures for the signal relays.
Once you pull an activation switch, the link timer will reset, giving you 25 seconds to find and pull another one. If you can do so in a timely manner, all the signal relays in a given cluster will successfully re-establish their network and remain active. Thruster optimization found. Not quite enough data to fully replicate it, though.
This tram rail appears to have suffered a significant kinetic impact and/or a shearing force.
The Estrella. When it arrived, it ejected debris into the surrounding area, much of which impacted here. It severed this tram line and pushed Habitat B out of its standard orbit.
Though, at this point, it's for the best. Almost the entire habitat has been consumed by the biomass.
Checking data store. Maneuvering thruster optimizations were being tested on this drone too. Excellent. Data recovered. Network status. Connected. We're making good progress, Jack.
Juno, where does this tunnel lead?
According to schematics, this tunnel should take us to the auxiliary entrance for the Central Transit Hub's cargo intake. Shields at 95%.
Was this drone hiding?
Unfortunately, these units have limited defensive mechanisms. Oh, fascinating. According to the data on this drone, certain mineral formations in this cavern have shown limited resistance to the biomass.
What is the discerning factor?
Unknown, but the construction logs for this area should contain a complete mineral survey. If we could access the logs, we should be able to identify which mineral formations are more resilient to infection.
Where would we find the logs?
In the control room, assuming they weren't consumed, that is. Shields at 50%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%.
An empty dock. Perhaps there's a workstation nearby. This door appears to be sealed.
That is the auxiliary entrance for the station's central cargo intake. It was most likely sealed as a safety protocol. Shields at 95%. Shields at 50%. Shields at 30%. Shields at 95%. Let's see. Moderate store of data, but much of it could prove useful in developing a cure. Stand by while I sift through the logs. Yes, here we are. It would appear mineral formations with a lower carbon content exhibit resistant properties in the presence of biomass. Good find, Jack. There's a significant quantity of data here, and I believe much of it can be used in our effort to develop a cure.
Apollo, is this one of your AI cores?
Affirmative. Once I became aware of the salvage attempts on the Estrella, I began disabling intruding equipment with a suite of electronic countermeasures. Apparently, this core was taken before my defenses were in place.
Well, now that you're here, will you disable whatever protocols it's using to prevent access?
Negative. It is still imperative that I minimize the distribution of the Estrella's classified technology. Of course, should this particular element prove relevant in stopping the biomass, I will lift the restriction at that time.
Very well.
What can you tell us about the biomass, Doctor?
Very little. Far less than one would hope.
Humanity has lived with this organism for 400 years. We must have learned something.
Well, we know it's not actually a single organism. Once it's released into an environment, the biomass immediately begins evolving. It's diversifying into a variety of distinct species, all stemming from the same base element.
Then it's an entire ecosystem.
That is the prevailing theory.
What about its origins? Where did the biomass come from?
That is the more troubling question, isn't it? We know the Astrea carried the biomass into this timeline, but as to its true origins, we only have theories and conjecture. No conclusive facts. In truth, I'm not sure it's a question I need answered. Whoever engineered the biomass, they either still exist or they don't. Both possibilities are equally terrifying.
Dr. Harlan, how well do you understand the internal mechanism of these biotorpedoes?
The mechanism? Only enough to know that as part of its detonation process, it catalyzes the base genetic material within to create a stream of infectious spores.
Yes, I have witnessed that event firsthand.
But you are certain you have seen a torpedo prior to that stage, one that has not detonated yet?
Yes, several in fact.
Good.
Apollo, how sound are Dr. Harlan's theories regarding the FTL and time travel?
There is a fair amount of evidence to support his premise, most of it coming from our own personal experience. The Estrella's FTL was similarly infected when it made its initial jump to your time.
And for the jump that brought us here.
Precisely.